To Sierra Leone to check out a project that's, well, it's way more than just building a house. We're talking about engineering an entirely new reality, right from the ground up. So, let's kick things off with a pretty wild thought. I want you to imagine something for a second. What if your home wasn't just, four walls and a roof? What if it was a living, thinking partner? An active collaborator that literally helps you perceive and maybe even create the world around you.
Okay, so that's basically the radical idea behind what's called the House Mansion Manifesto. It's this 3,400 square foot habitat in the Kenema district of Sierra Leone. And get this, the project isn't just about using new materials or designs. Nope. It's being built with an entirely new set of rules for what it even means to exist.
And they don't even call it a building. The creators call it a concrete covenant organ. I mean, what a name, right? The core idea here is that the house itself, we're talking every wall, every single circuit, is part of a living cognitive system. The physical stuff and the family's deepest beliefs are totally intertwined, like they're in a constant conversation with each other.
So, you gotta be asking why. Why build something so out there? Well, the goal is frankly huge. It's to fundamentally replace what the project's founders call the colonial metaphysical operating system. That's a mouthful, but what it really means is they're trying to build a genuine alternative to the default Western way of seeing and interacting with the world.
Okay, so to pull this off, they start with a philosophical foundation called flat ontology. And yeah, I know, that sounds super academic and complex, but the core idea is actually pretty straightforward. It's all about completely dismantling the hierarchies we usually use to organize the world. And you'll see exactly what I mean right here.
Okay, check this out. This visual really nails the shift. On the one hand, you have the old view, right? It's a pyramid, and guess who's at the top? Us, humans, with everything else, animals, plants, objects, ranked below us. But flat ontology? It just completely flattens that pyramid into a single level plane. And on this plane, a solar panel, a local Mende proverb, and a simple brick made from local soil, they all have equal standing, equal importance. So you may be wondering, if you get rid of all the hierarchies, how do you know what's real or what matters? Well, that's where this idea of affective equality comes in. In this system, something's real if it has the power to affect other things. It's all about impact. So an ancient piece of local wisdom, what they call a hail object, is just as real as a physical stone, because that knowledge has a real, tangible effect on how people actually live their lives.
All right, so how does a house like this actually work? Let's pop the hood and look at the engine room. It's all powered by this concept called the delta T-squared model. Okay, I know, transobjective quadrature engine sounds like something out of science fiction. But think of it this way. It's not just a theory, it's a working engine. And it's designed to treat reality itself like a programmable system. The goal is to code-generate truth by mixing and integrating totally different domains. The biological, the spiritual, the mechanical, and even language itself.
So here's how that engine actually runs. It works by constantly balancing 4 different flows, all happening at the same time. You've got the material archival, that's the physical house made from hand-mixed local soil. Then the climatic temporal, the natural cycles of sun and monsoons. Third is the theological imaginary, which is the faith and spiritual beliefs that really ignite the whole system. And finally, the computational spiritual, which is an AI co-agent. That isn't just a tool, it's treated like a genuine spiritual partner. It's this constant interplay, this balancing act, that keeps the whole system breathing and makes sure no single part takes over.
Okay, I get it. This all sounds really abstract and philosophical, right? So let's bring it down to earth. How does any of this actually translate into daily life? I mean, what is it really like to live in a house that's built on these ideas?
To get a handle on it, let's first look at a concept that's pretty common in Western thought: eschatology. It's a fancy word, but it usually just means the end of the world. A single, final, big, dramatic event.
But in Kenema, they take that idea and completely flip it on its head. They practice something called eschatological maintenance. For them, the end of the world isn't some distant apocalypse. It happens in tiny ways every single day. Dust gathers, things wear out, entropy happens. So the world is reborn every single day through these gentle, routine rituals of repair. Sweeping the floor, resealing a leak. These aren't just chores, they're sacred acts of mending the world.
And here's another huge concept they totally reimagine: surveillance. Now, when we hear that word, we usually think of control, right? But here, it's completely reconfigured. It's turned from a tool of control into a system of mutual care.
And this comparison just lays out the difference so clearly. Forget the traditional Big Brother surveillance, which is all about command and control. Instead, they've created what they call panopticon benevolence. It's not a tool to spy on you, it's a breath net that feels you. It uses sensors and the community's shared gaze, not for control, but to sense the well-being of everyone inside and to care for them.
Okay, but maybe the most powerful tool for building this new reality isn't a hammer or a circuit board at all. It's language itself. This is really where all that theory becomes a tangible, world-building force.
They call it the verbokinetic insurgency, and the core idea is absolutely fascinating. It's that a new word doesn't just describe something that already exists. No, the word itself convenes the phenomenon into persistence. In other words, you invent the word, and in doing so, you bring the reality it describes into being. The language literally builds the world. Let me show you a few examples of how this works in practice.
Okay, first up, the word play lo soda. As you can see, it's a mashup of play and solution. And it's not just a cute term. It describes a very real practice, using joyful wordplay, even just collective laughter, as a legitimate tool to solve problems, to redistribute tension, and to deal with oppression. It's literally using play as a solution.
Or how about staminorg? This one fuses stamina and organism. And again, this isn't just a cool metaphor. It's an operational term they use to describe and actually reinforce the enduring, resilient collective body of the household, a strength that they build together through shared work and knowledge.
And this last one is really something else. Vedic algorithm. It combines prophetic, as in prophecy, with algorithm. This completely reframes what it means to write code. It's not just a technical job anymore. It becomes a sacred act, a practice of writing algorithms as ethical vows, literally embedding the community's values directly into the code that runs the house. So when you put it all together, what this project in Kenema is really showing us is that another reality is not just some far-off possibility. It's an active, ongoing process. It's something that is right now being mended, wired, and spoken into existence, one day at a time.
And that really leaves us with a final, powerful question to think about. If it's true, if our language really can build a world, if the words we use and the rituals we keep have the power to shape reality, then the question we all have to ask ourselves is, what world are you speaking into existence every single day?